What's up, guys? My name is Ted DarkClaw, and with me, as always, is the Blacknight. We are the co-owners of helladopetoys.com, and this show is Hella Dope. Aaron, how was your weekend, my friend?
I know. Apparently, something happened. Something pretty big and important. Whatever. But no, it was good. Me and the missus finally tied the knot, as they say. So once all the paperwork goes official, no, she'll be officially, Mrs. Yancey. But it was good. No,
Hello, Mrs. Yancey.
Yes, since she changed it now.
She changed
it was good. Go family, some friends, some eats, a lot of drinking.
Yeah, you got a little loose yesterday, man.
Yeah.
Just a little loose. You went from grumpy to real silly, real quick.
Dude, okay, you know probably better than like anybody. Wearing a suit and a tie at the same time ain't happening. So something had to go. And of course, when you get married, everybody wants to take photos. Photos with the dog, photos with the pocket lint that's in their pocket, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got through it. It was a good time. Had to work this morning. Never doing that again.
Yeah, you're never getting married and then working the next day ever again.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Poor life choice. I didn't even work today.
Well, you write your own schedule, so you can do that.
Yeah. Sometimes. Well, enough about you. All right. You already got all the love from Instagram.
I did.
Just pouring in.
Appreciate you all.
Really amazing community showing love to you and Mrs. Yancey. But we have a guest tonight. We're wrapping up our quest for PowerCon, and this is the last guest for PowerCon, and we wanted to kind of end it with a bang before we go solo next week and talk about all the things we haven't gotten ready for the show.
Yep.
But our guest tonight is a YouTube toy reviewer. If you watch toy stuff on YouTube, then you definitely know who this person is. So I would like to welcome the Toy Bro. Jared, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. What's up, guys?
Not much. Before we get into things, I want to tell an awkward story about me. So I was at PowerCon last year, and I was just super excited. So this is before we had the toy store. This is before we had a YouTube channel, and I am just a dude super excited to go see all my favorite YouTube personalities at this big toy show in our own backyard. And so I showed up to the show Friday, and I think you were the first person I passed. You were in line. So I'm immediately texting my wife, and I'm like, freaking Toy Bro's here, and he's in line. This is awesome. And then Robo walked by. He was going to the bathroom, and I was like, oh, and then Robo's going to the bathroom. And my wife said, don't follow Robo to the bathroom. So I did not and I did not want to lose my place in line. But, as you walk in, there was immediately the Four Horsemen line. So, like, it's just one big line. The whole line could have just been the Four Horsemen line. And you were about 12 people ahead of me in there. And I'm just like, yo, Toy Bro's like right in front of me again. And so I just played like YouTuber Pokemon all weekend. I was trying to catch them all. I hit up Shartimus, I hit up Robo, I hit up Pixel Dan, I hit up Dan Larson, I hit up Cincy Nerd, and I passed you about 15 times over the weekend. And every time there was just, you were either talking to somebody or there were people just kind of rushing at you. I never had an opportunity to say hi. You were the one who got away, man. You were the only one I did not cross off my list last year. So it is really cool to have you here this evening. So
and you can cross me off your list in 2 weeks too. So
excellent. I'm going to do that. I'm going to walk through the line where you started.
Don't worry, he really will. He'll have a list and be like, all right,
just me.
I'm going to have a list. So for anybody that doesn't know who you are, would you like to take a second and introduce yourselves to the world?
Yeah, I mean, Jared, Toy Bro. I've been doing this for, we talked, 6 years, I think. I have to go back and check the calendar. 6 years. Just been collecting toys for, I don't know, too damn long, really. I couldn't even tell you when, but when I was in diapers, really was when it started. But it's just my thing. So we talk about toys.
Awesome.
I mean, on all the socials and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. And we do have links in the description for Toy Bro. So go check out Jared on places that I put a link to. I don't even remember. I think it was just Instagram and YouTube. But before we get into anything else, my watch says it is time for me to ask you, Aaron. After a long day yesterday, what are you sipping on?
Well, it's funny you asked that question. In the official Hello Dope mug is water.
Nice to see
And
you.
I should only be drinking water, but you know how this goes. I'm not drinking just water. So I bought some friends with it. We have the Mountain Dew Hard Black Cherry. It's not bad. I had the watermelon one the other day. Not a fan. And just in case I run out of that one, we got the regular Mountain Dew Hard. So.
Excellent. Mixing and matching tonight.
Exactly. It's like Christmas in July. See what I did? There's this red and green.
Got it.
Since we knew what I'm drinking on today, sir, what are you sipping on?
Well, in my trusty Hello Dope mug, I am also sipping on water because yesterday was a day for me as well. I don't think I had as much fun as you did, but had more than enough. But always by my side because I am the socially awkward. I have some Miller Lite to. My phone just fell in the trash can. I have my Miller Lite to take care of me. But we do have a guest tonight. And Jared, we would like to ask you officially, what are you sipping on? What are you sipping on?
Nothing too exciting. I'm gonna keep the water train going, but that's all. That's all I've got.
That's all right, man. Like I said, we've had some really interesting answers to this with multiple guests. I still think the one to beat is Alka-Seltzer. You add that to your drink.
It's got to be very, very episode specific.
No, not all. That's just what he was sipping on that day.
Yeah. We brought on a guest. We asked him, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm just drinking Alka-Seltzer." And I was like, "Okay, cool, man. That's fine."
I feel like I'd like to know more about that, but probably not.
Probably not.
It's all right.
Well, Aaron, I think it's chat time. They filled up pretty quick, and they are already blowing it up to see our lovely guests. So let's say hello to the chat and see what's going on in there.
For sure. First and foremost, our wrench action, aka Axion Figs. Good morning, good evening. Thank you once again. I said to you in the chat, but always appreciate the love and support of the day. A new name to me in the chat, Endless Fables. Can't wait for PowerCon. We are also on that same road with you. The closer that we get, the more we realize that one, we're not ready, and two, we're still not ready. But we'll figure it out. And then, of course, the new Mrs. Blacknight joining us in the Hello Dope fam. She probably needs the kids to sleep or throwing them outside. We don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, throw them outside.
Yeah. Largo's Lair, aka Jim Largo. If you're not following this man, he's back online. He's solved his internet issue for now. Check out AF3. It is back up. All your Action Force lore. And then on Mondays, Infinite Playlist with this Monday being Grindhead Jim. So check that out.
Always a great show to watch.
Yeah. Dave Orkin. Hey to you. Good to see you. Welcome. Jeff Morris. Always a pleasure seeing you in the chat. And of course, Pendragon Design and Toys. Yo, crew.
Yo.
What's up?
What up, though?
What it do? And that's what I got.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, and there's already more piling in. So if we haven't gotten to you yet, don't worry. We're going to come back to all y'all.
Oh,
so
wait, no, there's one more side.
Oh, there is one more. Heard that.
It's laser pads. Ryan's in there.
know.
Hard alcoholic Mountain Dew. How am I more white trash than him? Come to Ohio and find out, my friend. I'll have plenty of Mountain Dew waiting for you.
You'll just be 20 feet away from us all weekend. So just keep that in mind, sir. I'm practicing throwing stuff so I can just chuck shit at the Valaverse table all weekend.
A lot of new names just popping in, man. A lot of new names.
A lot of people came for Toy Bro, man.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Oh well, I remember Billy Go Boom. Welcome
Yeah.
back.
That was a fun name last week.
Eric Alfred Abel, welcome. And then, of course, we got Greg over from the 3POA. PowerCon, sheesh. We just had Chris Con. How was Chris Con? I saw some photos. Talk about it. Let me know how it was.
Yeah.
I'm going to live vicariously through all of you.
Find My Figures was live and showing off a lot of stuff. So I got to live through the ladies there. Is that it?
That's it. That's all.
Okay. All right. So we're going to dive into some questions here in chat. If you have questions for Jared, feel free to put them in there. We will star them, and then we will find some breaks and get those questions out to him. But I want to first talk about, before we get into PowerCon, the iconic orange Toy Bro color. So in I guess the early YouTube review days, everybody made themselves stand out by this distinguishing color. So Shardom essentially had the basic white, but Floosh had blue and Wade had purple. And you come in with just this orange, man. Is that a preferred color for you? Were you trying to stand out doing that? Or you were just like, I like orange and this is what I have?
Sort of all of it. But it was really specific in terms of how it actually happened. Like when I started, I just had, just like everybody else, some, shitty setup with like a light box. Mostly it was just white. And then I changed. I've decided to move where I filmed into a different room. And that room was the toy room at our old house. And I had painted that room orange. But I moved everything without really planning. So I moved all my stuff. And I was like, well, I don't have any place to actually put anything right now. So I just filmed against the wall. And the wall was orange. And it was essentially the exact same shade of orange that I use now. But it changed. It's actually like a backdrop now instead of just a wall. And it just sort of stuck. I like orange. It's not like I'm not like, over the moon with everything orange or anything like that. But it's, for better or worse, like it's now my thing. So here we are, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think it really helped stand out, especially, when
it obviously stands out.
When you're just scrolling through toy reviews and so it's just, I don't know. I always thought it was cool and I was very curious about that.
There's no grand scheme or plan behind it. Not really. Just sort of.
So there was no strategy.
Accident.
You were just awesome. Well, that's the best way to do it, right? Like, because if you had planned that out, it probably wouldn't have worked. If you were like, you know what, I'm going to do orange just to counter everybody else. Then everyone would like, eh.
The only time it's a problem is when I have like an orange figure, which is really rare. So then it becomes an issue and I got to figure something else out. But that's about it. Nothing too spectacular behind the origin story of the orange.
So you attended PowerCon last year. Was that your first PowerCon, or
no?
Did you go out to the California shows?
I went to the last two in California, so 2019 and 2021, because there wasn't one in 2020.
We asked Jeremy DeWitt, because we had him on a few weeks ago, and we were asking him kind of what he thought the difference was between the California shows and the Ohio shows, and if they felt different. Did the Ohio show feel different to you from the California shows?
It did and it didn't. Like, it felt different because it's not all Motu anymore, but it was still, it's still like an overwhelming presence. Like, you walk in like, oh, this is everybody almost that was at California previously. It was a lot of the same people. It's not, the feel wasn't exactly the same because it was in a much larger space, like just in general, because the California one was held at a hotel. And so everybody was in that same hotel, and it was in one of the ballrooms at the hotel. This one, being at a convention center, it's a little bit different, but it's fairly similar. But it was a lot of the same people. People from California made it out. There were a lot more East Coast people than I imagine would have normally been there. But a lot of the same vendors. So it felt the same, but it also wasn't exactly the same. Like, for me, it was a whole event because I had to go to California. It's not the same as just driving one state north. So it's a little bit different, but the feel was really similar. I suspect that this year is gonna feel like how it was in California, just through and through, because all of the vendors are back. Everybody that was missing last year is going to be there. Super 7 will be there. Mondo's going to be there. Right. That kind of stuff. Some of the bigger companies that sat out last year to sort of bring it all back, because there really weren't a lot of like exhibitors last year. A lot of vendors, but there weren't tons of exhibitors.
So I got a question for you since you brought that up. Do you feel that a lot of those vendors who didn't come last year purposely waited out to kind of see what would have happened here in Ohio, or just kind of
That's how I kind of take it.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of seems like last year was like, this is the year that they're going to prove that they can still draw in the crowd, and they obviously did.
Right.
So it makes it a little bit more worthwhile, because I mean that's a trek for Mondo. They're coming from Texas. It's a trek for Super 7 for sure, because they're in California. So it's a lot more of an investment than just going, a couple hours for Super 7 or however far away they are. Not even that far, I don't think. Mm-hmm. But I think it definitely showed that they could pull in the crowd. I have a feeling a lot of that was due to the Horsemen having such a big presence there, but that likely helped. Which whatever it took, that definitely helped. So. And it's going to be more the same this year.
Now, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Aaron. I'm not saying anything important.
So we talked back in the green room before we went live. Obviously this year they expanded the show. Obviously, a lot of names came to the table and said, "Hey, come be a part of this." Where do you think you could see this show go futurely if it keeps the momentum that it's going? Could it be?
I feel like it could be bigger.
Could it be? Well, I don't want to say bigger than San Diego, because I don't think anything could be bigger than that. But could you see it potentially being like, somewhere on that level?
I mean, I think it kind of feels like a specific void almost. Like this is a toy show. This is not a Comic-Con. This is a toy show. Mm-hmm. You're not there to buy comics. You're not there to get your comics autographed. This is a show to go and buy action figures. Like, that's literally what this is for. And there aren't a lot of conventions this toy centric that are also this big. Mm-hmm. And I think that's its draw, is that it is, now it's centrally located for the most part. I mean, Midwest, which, but, and it's drawing these names from across the country. So, you're going to get NECA, you're going to get the Horsemen, you're going to get Super 7, you're going to get Mondo, whoever else I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but like all of these, relatively large players in the game right now that you're not going to see at a lot of other conventions outside of maybe smaller regional cons. Right. And then of course the big ones, I don't go to San Diego. So that's a huge chance for me to meet some of these folks and see some of this stuff. So I think that's the big draw, is the ability to get those names outside of San Diego, away from their turf, their home state, really.
Mm. Ted, I have a question. I haven't read the notes. I just come up with questions and ask them.
Aaron just shows up.
Exactly. He says be here at 9. I'm here. Kind of like my wedding last night. She just said be there by 3:00. I'm like, cool, I got it. Is there, out of the list of names that they showed for the show, is there anybody there that you are like, I gotta go see, or someone I gotta go talk to?
I mean, the Horseman booth is probably priority number one, just to see those guys. Of course, there's exclusives there, but to see those guys and hang out with them. Super 7, although I have no idea who's going to be there from Super 7, so I don't know about that yet. Mm-hmm. Hang out, talk to the NECA guys, the Mondo folks, all of like the big names. Like, I really want to see what they're bringing, because I'm really curious to see what some of these companies are bringing to PowerCon, in particular, because I don't. Is Super 7 going to bring the Cat's Lair? I'm not so sure about that. Are they going to move that all the way across the country? I don't know. But yeah, I'm curious to see what some of these companies are going to bring, because I suspect they're going to also maybe bring stuff to reveal as well. Right. Like NECA did last year. It wasn't a big thing with those Masters of the Universe masks, but it was a thing to reveal. And then of course the Horsemen have a likely entire wave of Legions to reveal as well.
Yeah. So. That was probably, like, I went Sunday, so like to see like that display that they had with that wave 1 of Cosmic, and then just everything else that they had was just awesome to see. And then to finally to get into business with them, as another was like, it was like 2 wins in one day. And like I said, just like you, I'm really excited to see what they're bringing. Like I've seen a couple of like some Mondo figures online. If that is what they've got, I'm all in on that. Like, that is some phenomenal work. Like, sculpts look great. I almost bought the, what was it? Was it I think it was one of the Joker ones. I had to do it, but I
I
didn't.
think you were eyeing from Mondo. I think you were eyeing that Skeletor.
Oh yeah, that's that Skeletor.
Yeah, that's you were like, I'm about to buy this, and I said,
it was close.
I don't think you realize how big that thing is. And you're like,
I don't care. I would have found room for it. Somewhere between Galactus and the Sentinel, it would have worked.
One fits anywhere just fine. One is easy to display. When there's like, I don't even know, there's like a dozen at least. They're hard to display. Get hard to display after a while.
I'll make it work. My wife won't say that. That's kind of weird to say still. My wife, can I have a wife now?
You have a wife now.
I do.
And she's watching. Behave.
Oh.
So, Jared, have you seen the floor layout yet?
I briefly glanced at the layout, but I haven't really gone into too much detail. It looked like they sort of shifted things from how it was last year, whereas all the big booths are in the back now.
Yeah. So I'm curious because you were in that Four Horsemen line, and I'm sure you've been in other various long lines at other shows. It seems like everybody's kind of jammed back there together. And at Joe Fest, Valaverse had a really long line, and I'm just wondering, because they're all smashed together, where all those lines are going to go. Like, do you think that's just going to be absolute chaos? Because you have Valaverse next to Spiro. Both of them have exclusives. You've got Four Horsemen in the top right corner, I think. And then you have Super 7 down below there. I don't know. It's just a lot of lines to pop into, a lot of exclusives. Like, I'm curious of what the traffic flow is going to be like there.
I mean, I'm kind of suspecting that it's going to be like last year, and the line is just going to go straight to the Horseman booth. Because that's really what happened.
Line. It was a long line every day, a 2-hour long line. 2 hours in that line.
Yeah, I'm really not looking forward to standing in that again, but that's what you got to do.
Yeah. And so there was a gentleman in front of me. I don't know his name. He's a pretty predominant person in the Four Horsemen Mythic Legions world. I think he runs the Cabal or something. He was right in front of me. He got the last two exclusives right before me. So he grabbed the last two, and then I was just like, I just waited in this 2-hour long line for nothing. And then Saturday I was like, no, I'm not doing it again. I'll just wait till next year. And then I waited till next year and still didn't get them. we had them too, and I didn't even get them. So that was a bummer. I waited in that line for nothing. Got some cool figures though.
I didn't get it either. They're asking, is it Walter?
I stood behind that guy for 2 hours.
Wasn't him, because he wouldn't have needed to stand in that line.
He was a very tall gentleman, and then he did a live stream Sunday because I was over talking with Shartimus.
Maybe it was him,
and that's he popped in doing just a walk around live stream. But he knew the Four Horsemen really well, and I don't know. Everybody kept wanting to talk to him. I didn't know.
That sounds like Walter then.
Yeah, I don't know. Just tall guy, and then he ran into me and apologized for grabbing the last of them. And I was like, it happens, man. I wasn't mad at him about it. Somebody was going to get him. If it wasn't him, it would have been me, and then the people behind me would have been pissed. And so, he took the heat for that. That's fine. And I didn't go home and cry about it. I was just annoyed about waiting in the 2-hour long line.
No, he did.
You just happened to be talking about it a year later too.
I'm still crying about it. I'm still crying about it.
It's Chad is in the house.
It's Chad.
We just heard that he's also coming to PowerCon.
That is very exciting. I hope he does the cosplay this year, but we'll see. And it's good to see that he is back in his Sunday night time slot at 7 p.m. You guys should all check him out. He took a little break there. He's eased back into it. He is live again every Sunday night at 7 p.m. So go check out It's Chad and talk about G.I. Joes with him. All right. So we kind of covered half of this already of what you were looking forward to this year. What were some highlights for you last year?
Highlights last year were really just to hang out with people and see the folks that I only get to see at PowerCon. That's half the reason for going, really. Mm-hmm. And that was the main reason I started going when I went to California. I was like, I'm finally going to do this, to meet all these people that I've been talking to for, over a decade in some cases on like He-Man.org and things like that. So that's a big part of it for me right now.
Awesome. All right, we're going to talk about nightlife activities, and we're going to take a chat break because I'm curious how you spent your evenings there. Like PowerCon, it ends each day kind of early. Like I think Friday's the latest at like 8 o'clock, but for most part, it ends at 6. And then everybody scurries off, and I was just kind of like, well, I'm still amped up and ready to go, but I didn't know where any of the cool stuff was. And then I find out like Monday and Tuesday, people were in hotel lobbies playing with action figures. YouTubers were going out and doing nice dinners together, and I'm like, Toy Bro, where's the party at though, man? What were you doing, and what kind of parties can we get into?
Last year, I mean, I don't remember a lot of it, but I ended up getting pretty, intoxicated, we'll say, at a really shitty pizza place, like right next to the hotel, which is where a lot of people ended up going. And
so did you stay at the hotel next to the convention center, like the one that's attached to it, or you go further down the road?
No, I was at the one that's across the street, not the one that's like in the same building, but I think the Hilton, maybe. Yeah. The Hilton. Yeah, we stayed at the Hilton, and there was a pizza place that was on the opposite corner. Kind of a shitty little place, but it was awesome. It was really, really good. Mm-hmm. A lot of people ended up there.
So Ted, remember, we gotta check out the pizza places first.
I couldn't begin to tell you what it's called, but
I wonder if it was Mikey's. Really
I remember they sold pizza by the slice.
Yeah, Mikey's. Yeah,
because I think when we had Jeremy on, he implied that he went there too, and then he went into the speakeasy that's in there. Because
pretty much everybody I knew that was there filtered in and out of that place that first night for sure.
Yeah, because they have a secret bar in there, which is really cool. I've never gotten to go to it just because it's going downtown is a pain in the ass. So my wife really wants to go, but I don't. And then Mikey's usually does a lot of the concert stuff they set up there at some of the big arenas. So pizza place is the place to go. Did you partake in any of the action figure playing in the lobbies?
Yeah, I was there for a little bit of that, but that was kind of late.
Those toy people.
I couldn't tell you how late we were out. So I remember being super tired the next morning. That's all I really remember.
Yeah, because I saw Pixel Dan's videos. It's just this room full of dudes, and they got like these He-Man play sets set up, and they're all just doing stuff. And I'm like, what does the hotel staff think right now? Like, just bunch of grown men setting up their toys in the lobby and just having a great time. I was like, that was cool. I'm sad I missed that. I went to the expensive bar attached to the hotel, which don't go there, by the way, unless you want like a $10 beer. And then I took my ass home.
Oh, Adam has informed me it is a pizza rustica. That is cool.
Okay. Adam would know. Awesome. So anything going on in the chat, Aaron?
A couple things, they're mainly just kind of mingling among themselves, but I mean, there are a couple things in here. Apparently, there's some shots fired in the 3POA group between Art G and Laser Pants.
Art G.
Hear more about that interesting story.
Story. More to come.
Oh, I hope so. Jeff Morris, the Valorverse Red Swarm figure is going to be a hot figure at this show. If you didn't catch the show with Bobby and Laser Pants, definitely check that out. He kind of talks about the rush that he had to get that figure. So I'm looking forward to adding that to my Action Force collection. So
talking about the Horde one?
Yeah.
The exclusive? Okay. Awesome.
Oh,
yeah. No, that thing looks good. He did show up the box. So if you guys want a sneak peek at that show was 2 weeks ago. So
yes. Greg says, Ted, did he have a troll sidekick? If so, definitely Walter. Oh, the Cabal rings on his hand.
There was somebody with him, but I don't. Like I said, to me, he was just a random dude in a random line, and people kept talking to him. I didn't know who he was. So, and then he ran into me again. He was like, he just kept apologizing, put me on some random live stream that I don't even know. I don't even know what it was airing to. So
I'm just here. Come be on my show.
Yeah. No, he was just wandering around. He's like, hey, you're live. And I'm like, cool. It was just some dude just shoved a camera in my face. I was like, all right.
And the Russian 61, welcome. First time seeing you here. they'll be there Friday morning early, dragging his daughter around with the promise to look for some Monster High. Well, Russian 61, I just so happen to be looking at, I don't know, a couple Monster High figures right over there. So come check us out. If you got something that you like, we can hook you up.
Yeah, this is a good show for Monster High as well because I think they're twin brothers. Yeah, the creators will be there again. They were there last year. They'll be there again.
Brothers, yeah.
Yeah. And then I think there is a booth solely for Monster High. I don't know the booth number or anything like that, but yeah, it's a good spot. That's why my daughter wanted to go last year as well, because FaceTiming her with all the Monster High stuff was really annoying. And I'm like, you know what? Just tomorrow you're coming here and you can just buy whatever. So
look here, sir. Don't stir pots around here, okay? Okay, your job is to stop the sex bots. Okay, you do that. I worry about what stays in and out the box.
You can buy a Mondo figure and not open it.
Maybe. don't judge me.
That sounds like you.
Yeah, no, that's exactly me. I still got shit right here I haven't even opened yet.
Got it for the chat?
That's it.
All right. Awesome. Cool. So we talked about PowerCon essentially doubling in size over last year. And then this is allowing a lot of these smaller companies to kind of fill in. So like we have Fwoosh, we have Valiverse, we have Spiro, Super 7 and NECA. While they're not necessarily considered small, they're small in comparison to the big two. Crap, now my mind just blanked on everybody that's being there. Do you think without Mattel being there, this is an opportunity for the show to evolve as an independent toy show?
Yeah, I mean, they've already kind of done that, really. I mean, it's not what it used to be. It certainly doesn't. I'm not going to PowerCon with the expectation that there's going to be a Mattel booth and that there's going to be this huge focus on new He-Man product, or that there's going to be industry people there and things like that. So I think they've already done it. And this year kind of shows that they've done it.
Now,
it's always going to be a convention. I think there's going to be it's always going to have a huge He-Man thing to it, because it's so ingrained with a lot of people that are in the He-Man community.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's never going to change, but I think there's certainly room for it to be more than just that. And this year will be them showing that.
Do you think Mattel will ever come back, or would you even want them to return?
I don't think so, especially after how the last California show went. I would never speak for them, but it kind of seems like that bridge is burned in some way. Mattel didn't even show up. They just had a booth. They had a booth and it had stuff, but they did not have a presence at the last PowerCon. There was nobody but a security guy manning the booth. You couldn't talk to anybody. All of whatever panels they originally were going to do were like pre-recorded, and then they just showed them on a projector. So it was all kind of like them kind of like getting out of it is what it seemed like. They did have a presence there, but there was no one there to actually man the booth. So they just sent in some stuff. Here's some new figures, and see you later.
That's a bummer. Now, do you think after
not to mention how the exclusives went for that year as well, which was a huge just slap in the face to Val in particular with what they did with the exclusives.
What happened with the exclusives? Fill us
in. So
the
exclusives last year in PowerCon in California were all Motu Origins. So that was the year that had like the Horde pack and the Leo Faker pack. And it was also the year where everything was super delayed. Like it was, we were still in the thick of it, where literally nothing is going to be on time for any company. Everything is delayed. That's the new norm, because that was 2021. So we were still, in the middle of everything being just awful. And they had said, they had been like posting up until the last second, we do not know if your exclusives are going to be here in time to get them at the convention. Wow. And they didn't arrive. So, they said, you can cancel them if you want. Otherwise, we're going to ship them to you later on once we get them. And, Val and his little crew is able to actually get them shipped out. And then the day after PowerCon was done, Mattel put all of it up on the Mattel Creations website for pre-order. and people were able to just get them, and they got them first, and they got them for less. I paid an ass load of money to get my figures shipped because I couldn't get them, and I didn't buy them on Mattel Creations because I had already paid so much for them through PowerCon. That money's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So people just bought them for normal price. You paid like $6 shipping. You got these humongous sets of figures because the damn things are massive, and that's why shipping was so crazy. I paid like $100 to ship all my stuff. It wasn't fun at all. And like Mattel they did that on purpose. Like there's no way it wasn't an accident. It wasn't even really announced. It was just like PowerCon's over. This shit's going to be on Creations tomorrow.
Wow.
Now, did they have? Now, I know you said they did stuff for the show. Though, like last year and this year, you were able to pre-buy your exclusives, and then if you're arriving to the show, you can pick up. Did they do that there in California? And is
that's
that
what it was supposed to be.
Okay,
that's what it was. That's what it was up until that final year where nothing arrived on time. I like that though. It was difficult when it was in California because I had to figure out a way to get it home. Mm-hmm. Some of that stuff was like I had no plan on how I was getting that Origin stuff home. It was going to have to be shipped one way or another anyway.
See, Ted, this Toy Bro has confirmed why we should be shipping product from the show, because who's going to carry all that stuff? How are you going to get on a plane? How are you going to get all that stuff?
That was always my concern because I want to pack light. I don't want to take a bunch of suitcases. And like the first year I went to PowerCon, one of the exclusives was this when they were still trying to do 12-inch like highly articulated She-Ra dolls, and they did one for that show. And I mean, the box is like this wide and like this tall. It's humongous. It wouldn't have fit in any suitcase I even owned anyway.
Right.
So I had to pay $50 to ship the damn thing home.
I'll say that, or you have to buy its own plane ticket for a seat.
Right. It was huge. I mean, it was massive. And like the stuff at that last year of PowerCon, there was no chance in hell I could have gotten it home. Like I would have needed a suitcase for almost every single box.
Wow.
So it would have been shipped no matter what, but the logistics of what happened were just a mess.
So you think it was more of maybe Val didn't want Mattel there anymore, or it was just kind of both Mattel didn't want to be there anymore, and then Val didn't want to invite him back after that?
I think it was kind of more of that, where Mattel was kind of pulling out and Val was just kind of like, well, I'll let you go then. And this was the opportunity to get it away from California and get it into Ohio, because of course that's where he lives. So it's easier for him. It's easier for maybe a lot of the folks that help to get there too. So I mean, it was really odd. The programming that year was different. The presence at the booth was non-existent. So it was just, you could tell that they just didn't give a shit. And then when they did all that with the exclusives, like I won't be convinced that wasn't done maliciously,
right?
Because they knew that the product hadn't arrived, or it had arrived and they didn't give it to PowerCon. I don't know. Maybe they withheld it. I have no idea. But then they immediately said, as PowerCon's closing, all this stuff's going to be up on Mattel Creations tomorrow, and then people could just easily get it.
Oh yeah,
which is great for everybody who couldn't go to PowerCon, but it absolutely screwed over the people that did go to PowerCon, and Val in particular, because he had to eat shit essentially for not being able to provide any exclusives for everybody.
Right.
And all he could do was apologize.
Yeah, and to be able to put something up like that, essentially less than 24 hours after a show is over, you had to
I was like packing up to leave the next morning, and I'm just like watching this stuff go online. I'm like, I should buy this, but I already have. Like, I've already paid for it. Surely I'll get my stuff first.
Yeah, that had to been already listed on their site.
It took like 8 months to get my stuff too. Like I by the time I got it, I didn't even give a shit about it anymore. I've never even opened it. Just sits in a corner.
Wow.
See the
corner.
I like Toy Bro all fired up, man. I like it. This is
that still really bugs the shit out of me.
Is this a Twitter Toy Bro right here?
Yeah, I like Twitter Toy Bro.
This is my Twitter persona.
This is good. Man, and now I just want to keep I'm just like, tell me more about Mattel. We can move on from that, I guess. I guess we'll talk a little bit about you reviewing. You've been doing this a long time now. Do you review items that you aren't necessarily into? Like, I understand, I'm sure some companies probably send promo items and you're like, yeah, whatever. But I also assume you purchase a lot of stuff and you're like, yeah, I want to review this. Do you review things that you don't like, or do you just stick to stuff that you personally enjoy now?
I mean, there are instances every now and then where it's usually like something somebody sends me. If it's something that I end up not liking, like the one that always sticks out is Bandai sent me like the Figuarts 89 Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman, like the first one that they did. And I just didn't like it. I just didn't like anything about it. And it's like, it's a Figuarts. It should be super, super mobile. Of course, it's that Batman, so his head doesn't move, and it didn't. And like, it shouldn't move, but it makes for a boring ass action figure. Like, this isn't fun. I'm not having fun posing this because he can't look around. He's just sort of staring straight on, or he had one of those face plates that was looking off to the left or something. I'm like, I'm just not enjoying this. Like, this, it could have been really cool, and I didn't like it. And I was just kind of matter of fact about it. But I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's stuff that I am interested in because this isn't a job. So, if it's always stuff that I don't like, there's a good chance I just won't do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be fun, or I'm not going to do it. I don't have time for it otherwise. And then, I definitely end up getting stuff that I don't like. I mean, I buy a lot of stuff, and there's no chance in hell that I can review everything that I get. It's just not feasible. So there's always stuff that I'll get, and like, I wanted this, but like, maybe I'm not it's probably not worth doing a review on. Like, I don't need to review every Marvel Legend figure. Like, I just don't. They're all the same. At a certain point, it's a Marvel Legends figure. It's got to be somebody that I really want to talk about. But yeah, there's like, I'll get figures and they're just like, I don't really care about this one. But I don't tend to do videos like that. I did a while. I mean, I did early on. I kind of filmed a lot of stuff that I didn't really care about just because I was like, I'm trying new stuff out or looking at different lines that I'd never looked at before. So, older videos, there's definitely stuff that, I just didn't, I filmed it, but didn't care for it or hated it in some cases.
I like the idea of Twitter Toy Bro YouTube title on a review of I'm not having fun. And it's just you like, I'm not having fun with this. All right, awesome. So you're a big supporter of the 4 Horsemen. I know you've done some reviews of the new Cosmic Legions. I have heard you say good things about them. Are you all in on Cosmic Legions?
I'm all in on Legions.
Just in general.
Perfect.
Yes. Just yes. Blanket statement. Yes.
Do you do any sort of customizing with them, or you just keep them as is?
I like to say that I do, but I don't do a lot of it. It's more that I don't have a lot of practice to consider myself very good at it yet. So that's the thing. I've never been much of a customizer of anything really. But with Horseman stuff, it's kind of a part of it is kind of baked into the toy line that, yeah, you can easily customize this stuff if you really wanted to take a crack at it. So I've done some. I've got a Cosmic figure that I took apart that I'm slowly started to work on, but I don't do a lot of it. It just kind of depends. I buy extras of stuff with the intention of doing it and then never do it. I do pop a lot of them apart, but I don't paint a lot of them.
Okay. I've heard people saying that those the Cosmic Legions can be mixed with the Mythic Legions to create. You could just mash the two together, which I thought that was cool that they kind of kept both of them interchangeable. Yeah. That's very awesome.
All the same kind of connections and everything.
Awesome. Aaron, do we have anything going on in the chat? We've been ignoring them for a minute.
I've got a couple
Any
things
follow-up questions?
No questions. Just lots of sex bots. Apparently, we can't stop the sex bots. So,
Pendragon wants more sex bots.
Axion, get on top of that. Go find the best sex bots. Go ahead and bring them into the show. Chad also says, well, even Joe Fest isn't just Joe. Correct. It's Vala. It's all about Valaverse now.
Taking it over.
Exactly. Pendragon also, Mattel doing it on purpose since forever in response to the whole Sandy thing. And then Shane Shooter, what's up? I recognize that vernacular hella dope. I bet you do. But we're not from California.
Not from California. I just watched too much South Park.
Exactly. And that's it.
Awesome. So jumping back to a little bit of PowerCon, have you been invited ever to be a guest? Because I know like they got Shartimus, they got Robo, they brought D Amazing in this year. You have a pretty big following, and
I don't think I have
obviously
a big enough following for something like that.
You
I also
think
don't
so?
know what I would do if I was invited. Like there's no draw. I don't have product. And I really don't want to stand behind a booth talking to people all day. I want to go. I want to be at not because I don't want to talk to people, because I want to be able to experience the show.
So you don't want to be a caged animal. You just want to run loose in the wild, and that's where you're happy. Okay. Now, what about?
I'm not going to buy toys standing behind my own booth.
What about a panel? If you were invited onto a panel, is that something
I could see myself doing something like that. Sure. What we would talk about. I mean, that's a great question, but yeah, I mean, I would be more inclined to do something like that versus standing at a booth.
Yeah. And I still don't think they've announced the panels for this year. I tried following up with Jeremy, and I was like, dude, where do you know the list? And he was like, there's no official announcement yet, but we're a week and a half away ish. I'm surprised they don't have any of that out. I thought, maybe they were going to last minute ask some people like, hey, you want to do a panel real quick?
Yeah, I'm really surprised they haven't posted anything yet. Although I think the site said they were posting it in July, so they still have a little bit of time.
That is fair.
All of 24 hours.
Yeah,
24 hours to post that list.
To get it up. All right, we're going to talk about Super 7. So I assume you're a Super 7 fan. You do review a little bit of their products.
Something really weird on the channel, yeah.
Now, the past year, they've received a lot of negative feedback from the community from various places. Do you feel that feedback is justified, or is it just the trendy thing to bash Super 7 right now?
I think it's both. I definitely see people bash Super 7 that have literally no interest in the product. Like, I mean, there's plenty of lines that I don't care about. I just don't talk about them. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't have anything to say. I'm not a part of the conversation. But there's definitely criticism out there that is 100% warranted. I mean, they still have a lot of problems.
Andre the Giant.
There's all sorts of issues with the figures in general. Of course, the big thing is always everything's late. Everything is always delayed, and that seems to be like the thing is everything's gonna be late. If it's all late, it's technically always on time, I suppose too. Everything's always never when it's supposed to be in. But I mean, I think a lot of that criticism is warranted, and there's still plenty of criticism at the individual figure level of odd articulation choices, issues with paint, things like G.I. Joe Wave 2 mistakenly not getting their faces painted. That's a huge problem. Literally a huge problem, because the first wave was so much better by comparison. All the issues with Silverhawks, licensing weirdness that went on with that. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of warranted criticism, but I also think that a lot of people just like to hop on the bandwagon because they are the one to sort of bash. They are. They offer a higher priced product, and they've had issues through and through. I'm still a big fan. They have literally all the properties that I want toys from. And they go with a form factor that I really love still, despite the fact that I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. That's the big thing. They won't or can't do double jointed limbs. I've grown to just accept it. That's what they're going to be. If they're not going to be anything different. So I'm not going to keep harping on that. There's nothing more to add at this point, really. We know they're not going to do it. If you don't want that, you don't have to buy them. That's really what it comes down to. You don't have to buy them. But I also understand that people, they want Thundercats, but they want them to be better, and that's the only option they have. That kind of stuff. So I get it. I get it. I don't agree with all of it, but I get it. They definitely have a ton of shit to work through still.
Now, because you're always very professional in your reviews. Have you ever kind of just let Twitter Jared come out on any of these and kind of spoke your mind? I know you will say like, oh, hey, I don't really like this, but it's always in like a polite manner? Have you had a video where you're just like, this thing's a piece of crap and I'm pissed off about it?
The only time I've really gotten, I think that you can actually see me like be frustrated with a figure, and it's a pretty old video, was when I did a video for the Diamond Real Ghostbusters figures. It was like the first wave of figures, and I did them. I'm pretty sure I did the review like right after opening them. Like I just opened them and I went right into it, and they were broken to shit. Like they were just so messed up. Paint slopped everywhere. I had pieces falling apart. And like I was doing everything I could to still try to like show what these figures could have been, but they just like kept falling apart on me. So by the end of it, I'm just ready to be done with this review and get it over with. Which was because I really wanted those figures to be so good because they looked awesome, but they were shit. And then I was so unhappy with how those two figures went that I just sold everything else when it came in.
I want to bring up this message, and I see this message a lot, and through our chat when we talk about Super 7 and other YouTubers that I watch when this comes up. Jeff goes, he likes Super 7 reaction Joes, which I mean really gets a good response. But in most people's opinion, and his, is that they're overpriced and they usually wait for them to go on clearance. Where does that line? Because I mean, my theory is if I'm interested, I'm buying it. Like at that point, price doesn't really matter. If I want to buy it or if I want to collect it, I'm going to pay the price. But there, in some opinions, this is a very true statement. Do you share any thoughts on the price point of Super 7 versus their quality, or does it not really matter that much to you at all?
I mean, that's definitely a big factor. And I know, reaction figures, I don't buy nearly as many reaction figures as I used to because they're expensive. I also just don't need a billion of the damn things all over the house. I had to cut back anyway, but they are expensive, especially for what they are. I kind of feel like there's, the two sides of this. I know like there's a whole thing with like Ultimates figures in particular that a lot of people are waiting on them now because why am I going to buy them directly from Super 7 or why am I going to pre-order them if I know like Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store are going to have them for like $20 off, or you can get them on Amazon for like $20. And excuse me. And I feel like I have my theory on where all of that happened and where it all came from. And I'm not so sure it's going to continue forever because, my theory on it anyway is that when Thundercats and Turtles Ultimates Wave 1 came out back in 2020, summer of 2020 is when those came out. They were super, super rare right when they came out. You could not find a Lino or a Raph for under $100. They were gone. Big Bad sold out. Entertainment Earth sold out. They had to reissue them at that point. So that, as far as my theory goes, that right there told them, the retailers, to order more. And I think they over-ordered and they overcorrected what they thought was going to be a big demand. And then the demand was not nearly what they thought it was.
Right.
And then they were just sitting on all this stuff. And with Super 7, they had to order so far in advance that this happened with a lot of different waves. It has not happened with everything, but it's happened with the majority of Ultimates. And I feel like once things started to get canceled because orders didn't make it, like the Tiger Zord got canceled, which still is absolutely insane to me. That makes me worried for Power Rangers if the Tiger Zord can't get enough orders.
Well, I don't know if it's the fact that they can't get enough orders or the fact that the run of Power Rangers is
did not get enough orders. I am 100% confident. I know. I'm 100% sure. Let me tell you, It did not get enough orders to meet factory minimum.
Interesting.
And so what you're saying is kind of why we don't dabble in Super 7 in our store. It's always something we've been very weary of because I like some older Super 7 stuff. Like I have my Filmation He-Man. I love this figure. Could it be better? Yes, but I love it. I paid the price. I bought Laughing Prince Adam too because like I had to have that. I very much wanted those turtles as well. I just didn't have any more room in my life for more turtles, so I just kind of watched from afar. And I feel like it was around the time of the turtles, and I might be wrong, is when a lot of these complaints started hitting. I mean, there was small stuff like, ankles on the He-Man figures and things like that. But I feel like after that wave 1 of Turtles is where everything kind of went to crap for them. But we're afraid to buy it mainly because of that whole clearance thing and the price point. We like to offer really low prices. And then, man, we just don't want to buy something, watch it go on clearance, or
you guys don't want to get stuck with that being a small shop.
Yeah. Or buy something and then, there's issues like with the Thundercats, and then we have a bunch of product that we don't know what to do with because it's messed up. But like, I feel for Super 7 to a degree. I think there's a whole bunch of potential for them as a company to make some really, really great stuff. They have so much potential behind them with all the IPs that they have and the way things look. I just get confused sometimes as to why it is how it is, because I want to support every toy company, so it's interesting hearing your feedback on that as a person who has to go through a lot of them, look at all of them, and it's one part of your primary collection, so
yeah, I mean, it's a big focus, and I mean, I feel like at this point I've kind of made it clear what I feel like they need to do to fix some of, like, at least as far as how the figures are put together and some of the maybe more quality control side of things when it comes to issues like that. I feel like I'm like a broken record at a certain point with seeing the same kind of thing over and over and over again. Like, we just got to do this different. We got to do this way. Stop putting cuts on figures that don't actually do anything. That kind of thing, because that's really driving me up the wall with them. Figures that have like diaphragm cuts that don't actually do anything but swivel. Like, that's not helping anybody. That kind of thing.
You have a significant influence. Do you think they hear that, or is it just they either aren't hearing it or they're hearing you and then just still doing whatever?
I mean, I think they're hearing it. I mean, I know that they're aware of my videos. They send me product. They know they know my opinion on the stuff, and I talk to some of the designers from time to time, so they know what the things that I think they need to change. But who am I? So,
I mean, that's why we have toy reviewers, right? That's why they send that stuff out. Like, they want the feedback, or I don't know. They just
because I'm only doing this because I want the figures to be better. I want them. I want them to be as good as they can be. Mm-hmm. I know they're not for everybody, but they fill a very specific, void in some things that I want to collect. Because as far as I'm concerned, that everything Super 7 does to a degree is an extension of Motu Classics for me. So it's all part of like this sort of feel and aesthetic for a figure line. So I want them to continue. I want them to keep making stuff.
Yeah, because they did that's the Super 7 Snake Mountain behind you, right? Yeah, love that. See, that's a work of art right there. Like,
they did a great job on that. Amazing. Some of their Motu figures in particular were really, really good. Hell, I mean, some of their Motu figures are like the most expensive figures in the line too. I feel sorry for anybody who wants to buy into those and didn't get them when they came out.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you backing the Cat's Lair?
Yep.
Where are you going to put that?
I don't know.
That's future Jared's problem.
That guy has a lot of problems coming.
So it's like, what, halfway funded now? Something like that?
It's almost funded.
Almost funded. Wow.
It's like 90%. I don't know. It's funding for sure. There is no chance it's not funding. Mm-hmm. I'm not so sure it's going to hit the early bird, but because that ends tonight. So
okay.
It's just a key. None of the tiers on it I think are anything that exciting, which is not really an issue to me. Like, I won't be upset if I don't get a key. I won't be upset if I get the workbench or whatever that thing is, and I won't be upset if I don't get that translucent lino. I want that lino, right, but I won't be upset if I don't get him. The Lair is the selling point here. The tiers are legitimate bonuses. It's not like a HasLab where you're getting some, and not to like just compare it directly, but HasLab stuff usually seems like it's kind of stuff you would expect to get. Like the Ghost having the entire crew as stretch goals, which is absolutely ridiculous. But, this is just bonus stuff. Like, yeah, you're getting a Lair. It might also be cool to get this other stuff too. And that's how I'm kind of viewing that.
Do you think if they reshuffle the tiers and say like Lionel is now the tier 1 unlock, do you think that sways some people to make that want to get it, that maybe or on the or I'm sorry, that's on the fence to get it?
Any of the tiers are really sellers. Like I can't see somebody looking at that and say, "Oh, that clear lino is going to make me spend this amount of money." Like it, you're either going to get it for the playset or you're not going to get it at all. Because it's such a, unless you're getting it to resell, then that's a different story. But this is a whole thing. This is likely the biggest thing anybody's going to have in their collection, possibly in their entire lives. It's that big. And I really don't think people understand exactly how big it is, because people, you can imagine, I've had a lot of conversations about this damn thing lately. And like, no one seems to understand how big it is in volume. It's humongous. It's 3 feet deep.
Right.
And like most collectors, I'll say 90% of collectors do not have a 3 foot deep shelf. That's huge. You can't go to Target and get a shelf that's 3 feet deep. They don't have those. You're not gonna get that. This thing is absolutely nuts, and it's for somebody who has a certain amount of space and a certain amount of money, or a certain amount of just, I don't give a shit and I'm going to do whatever I want to do to get my toys attitude. But it's crazy. It's going to be, it's literally centerpiece kind of stuff.
Yeah, a couple comments in the chat. Thanos, he wants the second tier, but then follows that up with he would be bummed if they were to reshuffle the tier because he doesn't care about the Astral Lino.
See, I want the Lino more than anything else, but it's like none of the tiers are anything. Like if we get them, great. If we don't, I don't care.
And then the official number 2,700 out of the 3,000 as of right now.
Awesome.
So it's going to fund. I just don't think we're going to get that early bird. We might.
It
might. It's jumped quite a bit today. So
because I watched a couple of you see those last hour where that's where the real movement starts,
right?
And I think that's where you're gonna see it. Like once the final countdown for the early bird starts, is when the pocketbooks are gonna start opening up. What's another one?
I'll take that key. I want it, but I also don't know what I'm gonna do with it either. So
Jared, there's a question in here for you. Well, it's not for you, but I'm gonna make it for you. Are you backing Hexastack? Do you know what Hexastack is?
No idea what that is.
Fair enough. So, Mr. Wonderful, he's right here in the chat. He'll be at PowerCon. He created a new display system to kind of elevate your display.
Are those like the 3-tier stand things? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yes, they're magnetic. They have peg holders. They also, the taller ones have drawers in them. So you can fit like 5 or 6 heads, hands, accessories, things like that. And then they connect and stack magnetically. So that Kickstarter is going on right now. I believe we're maybe 25-30% of the way through that. Travis would know better than I would. But he will be at PowerCon, 2 booths down from the Hella Dope booth, very close to the Spiro, Valaverse, and Foosh booth. So make sure to check out Hexastack there and go look into the Kickstarter, because that starter set I believe is like $25. That's really good deal for just testing it out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I had. I just wanted to pop those up real quick. Greg also says they do sell 3 foot deep shelves. They're called tables.
Right.
So
it's like a coffee table. It's literally almost as big as my dining room table.
Wow,
that is insane.
I haven't really told my wife how big it is.
That's fine.
Surprise.
Look,
so I'm going to divert away from some of these show notes just for a minute, and I'm curious. As a YouTuber, do you watch other reviewers or other toy channels? And what are you watching? Who inspires you as a creator?
I don't watch a lot of other people. It really kind of depends on what the figure is. Like I'll watch Lair because I like his take on Legions, because it's such a big focus for me. And he and I talk all the time. I'll watch Jay Hernandez if it's on the rare occasion he does a video anymore.
Yes.
And it just depends on what it is. He will occasionally get stuff that I have no intention of buying, but am no less interested in. So I'll watch that. And I'll watch D quite a bit when he gets stuff. When he gets stuff before me, take a look at it, or stuff that maybe I also have but am not going to do a video on. I watch him Mezco stuff sometimes because he's the guy to go to for that. So, but that's kind of it. I don't really watch too much. I used to watch a lot of it, but I find myself not watching other people play with toys, considering I do so much of it myself. So,
now you mentioned that this is just a hobby for you. Have you ever thought of going pro? Is that ever a dream?
I mean,
of yours?
the thought has certainly crossed my mind. It's just the logistics of it sound pretty difficult when I already have a full-time job and a family. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there are a lot of YouTubers out there, toy YouTubers, that are actually making a living off of their channel. I think like maybe Shartimus is, and like Anthony's Customs, I think makes a living off of his YouTube and custom work, but it takes a lot to make a lot of money, especially when it comes to toys, at least from my perspective anyway. I know like how much I can bring in off of what I do. It would take an order of magnitude more to be able to replace my actual job.
I know the pain. Have you dabbled in any live streams or anything like that? Like, have you done any your own lives on your own channel?
I've done a couple, and my big thing was like I always kind of came down with like issues figuring out what to talk about. Because after a while, I'm like, because I did them just solo, and like plenty of people watch, but like I found it really tough to actually get an agenda going and stick to it, and then have enough to talk about while kind of using the comments as a way to feed discussion. I think I do better as a guest than a host. At least that's from my brief experience trying, and that's not for lack of interest. Like I would love to do something that's not just reviews all the time, but it's also finding a time and being consistent with it. And I don't know that I'm actually going to do it.
You may be surprised.
Lazy, but I got other shit to do too. I don't just do toys. So, like I would like to do that, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to. There's so many other people that you can go to for that. You really need me to do another live stream. How many are you watching in a week already?
A lot.
That is fair.
You can watch a Dork Lair. You're going to watch Jay Hernandez go live every 6 months. That kind of stuff.
That is a valid point. I personally, like you as a guest right now, I like seeing this part of you, because
I mean, that's what it would be. It would be more of this. Yeah.
Yeah. I like seeing a little bit more of your personality out there. Like this is a really nice eye-opening experience, because again, you are very, very professional and chill during your reviews, and I also appreciate that from a reviewer, because there's no nonsense in there. You're very straight to the point, and then you say what you like, and you say the things that you don't particularly enjoy, and just boom, boom, boom. It's done straight to the point. And I like that as a reviewer as well. So, but letting your hair hang out a little every now and then, just
right.
have some fun.
I'm letting it down tonight.
Yeah. Looking good.
So.
Awesome. Anything in the chat, or should we keep going?
You're good.
Cool. So what are the best and worst figures you have reviewed just in 2023, just this year alone? And I'm sure that's hard to remember. All the years blend together.
I mean, off the top of my head, and I mean, I know I had these notes and I did read this question and then I didn't think about it afterwards, but I did read it. I mean, I kind of go back to the Four Horsemen, Monkey King might be up there for me right now. For worst, I don't know, probably a Marvel Legend. Like I reviewed the most recent X-Men wave, and I really hated the Emma Frost that was in it because it's just awful.
So I actually got a 2-part question for you then, since you're on that part of it. First off, are you remotely excited that they went back to a window package? Question 1. Question 2, what are your thoughts on that X-Men 97 Marvel Legends line? Do you see some potential into that with the show getting ready to kick off soon, or is it just another Marvel Legends that will sit and go on clearance?
Well, for the first part, I was kind of like middle of the road when it came to the packaging situation. Like I didn't really care. I open everything, so that aspect of it was irrelevant to me. And I already order, let's say 90% of what I buy that you could get in a store, I'm just getting online anyway, so I don't see it before it gets to me.
Right.
And I did end up having one issue with not something not being in the box because it was closed that I could have otherwise probably seen. It was one of the X-Men 3 packs. Banshee had the same head twice. So not like the hugest thing in the world, but it would have been in the tray. I could have seen it and I could have skipped it. Maybe. Although that thing probably wouldn't have been at retail anyway. So like, I don't really care. I like some of the packaging designs, honestly. Like the G.I. Joe closed box stuff is awesome. Like the boxes for those are so good. The Star Wars stuff is trash, so they can go back to window because I hate those. I'm not really buying much Black Series these days anyway, but and Legends stuff, it's kind of the same. Like it's not as exciting because it's just here's a character. That's about it. I'd rather just see like the cooler art on the back. So I'm okay with it, but it's also not. I'm not jumping for joy or anything, or take that, Hasbro. We got you. It's not like that's not that kind of a situation to me. Like I know some people are super, super excited and over the moon for this. Like, we beat them, that kind of thing. It's like, I don't care. It all goes in the recycling bin anyway. So, and I had issues I had QC issues on figures when we had plastic and packaging, so I had a Spider-Man come without a foot painted once. Like I couldn't see it in the tray because it was hidden by all of the plastic and the actual cardboard that went up and over for like the logo down at the bottom. So I didn't know that until I got it open. And they couldn't even replace it with the same figure. I got I don't remember what I got at the time, but so it's like, it's not like the end of the world or it's not the greatest thing ever. So I guess it'll be cool to see it again,
Okay.
It'll be cool to see it come back. But like the X-Men wave, I don't know. I mean, it kind of feels, at least with what they're giving us right now, which I'll be honest, I'm very excited for those figures because they all look really good. And, I want that pinless Wolverine in particular.
Yes, absolutely.
But they're not showing us with this first wave that this is going to be anything more than just them using it as a way to sell the same figures again. There's nothing new in this set. I mean, there is stuff that's new, but there's no new figures in there.
Right.
We possibly get a better Magneto, a better Wolverine, but I've been buying a better Wolverine for, years now.
Yeah. Tell me.
I've been buying a better Wolverine since that Juggernaut wave came out in 2016.
2016,
so, that was the wave that got me back into Legends. So, it's just kind of more of the same probably, but I do think it looks like a good wave after what we've seen.
Yeah, a lot of people are pretty much kind of in agreement that Bishop is what they're after right now.
He looks really good, and he's also you can't just go buy a Bishop, so this is a way to get him too. You can get maybe a little bit more easily some of those other figures in maybe different versions, but there's only been one Bishop in years,
right?
In whatever Omega Red wave, yeah.
See, that's what I need. I need an Omega Red. That's what I'm missing right now.
They just redid one not too long ago.
He was in that X-Men, that Wolverine 5-pack.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, not a good way to get him, but I don't know. It still might have been cheaper than the individual one because I have the one from that. I think it's Sauron Wave hanging on the wall here. I just can't bring myself to open it. I don't have anywhere to put him, and he looks really cool. So he just sits in the box until one day he has a proper shelf.
So what you're saying is I'm just gonna show up at your house one day and it's gonna come up missing.
Don't mess with my wall. I know exactly what is here. It is all documented.
Oh, the box will be on the wall. Don't worry about that.
Just no figure.
Yeah, I'm gonna replace it with one of those new cardboard covers.
See, this is why I don't invite you over anymore.
Probably.
So on the discussion of Legends, it sounds like at one point in life you were big on Legends because I mean for a while that was one of the hottest toy lines out there. And then over the years, it's kind of died off pretty hard. Where do you think Legends went wrong. For me personally, like I'm pretty satisfied with my collection. Like there's a Spider-Man villain here and there that I can use to round out some stuff, but I'm very satisfied with what I have. What kind of got you down on Marvel Legends?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm still collecting plenty of Legends, but I definitely am not like as like chomping as at the bit as I was, I suppose, for a while. Because there was a time where they started to like hit their stride again, like with right around the time that they did that that new Spider-Man body,
Mm-hmm.
the retro Spider-Man, and like
Yes.
we started getting photo printing on comic figures, and then we started to get into pin lists, and started to see more possibilities there. But like right now, it's just we're constantly, for me, it's like we're constantly getting the same shit over and over and over again. We're getting the same characters with like a different hairstyle. Like you want this new Daredevil, you're gonna have to buy an Elektra that you already have with a big hair and a shitty bullseye that you already have. Like I don't need those, so I didn't buy that, and I don't have a Daredevil as a result. But like these, and then like all of these 2-packs that they're putting out, and I know what they're doing. They're trying to get lesser known characters out, but they're packing them with something that you want to buy, but you probably don't want this other thing. So like I've not bought any of this Avengers 60th because I don't want half of that stuff, and I can only get it if I buy the other half. It's like I'm not going to spend all that. Like I'd love to get that Destroyer, but I don't need that Thor.
Right.
I have a clone Thor and I have a Thor. I have 2 of literally the same figure because one just happened to be named different, and now you're going to sell me him again with a different head sculpt. Like I don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want that Destroyer. So things like that kind of stuff is what's really, really like stopping me from buying, or more specifically now is waiting. And if it drops in price, I'll get it. If it doesn't, then I just won't probably. Stuff like that. Like previously, some of like these multi-packs, like the 5-pack with the Strife in it.
Yep.
Previously, I probably would have gone crazy over that. But then it's like, well, do I need all this other shit? Like I didn't have a Strife because I don't think I was buying Legends when that wave hit. So I missed him, that Toys R Us wave.
Yeah, that was like the first Hasbro wave, I think.
Oh no, that was way after that. But it was because the first Hasbro ones were like the Terrax Bath wave.
Okay.
Return of Marvel Legends.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. I'm thinking of like when they changed the packaging and stuff.
Yeah,
like
that's
2015.
You're thinking of the different box.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. When they stopped putting like the big plastic, just had a box.
Right. Yeah, they had like the old Toy Biz style packaging ish for a while. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it is like, there's always going to be stuff that I don't want. I mean, I probably would buy everything if I was, just haphazard about it, just to get every version of every character or get all these weird characters. But I've gotten to a point where there are way too many of the same figure coming out. Like, we got all these new Spider-Man figures, and it's just like the same thing basically, but maybe like slightly different, cell shaded nonsense. Stuff like that, animated looks that they sort of abandoned the animation look halfway through with the Spider-Man stuff. We aren't getting the cell shading on them anymore. Things like that. Like a lot of those little sublines, I find myself not being interested in. Like I got all of the X-Men VHS figures. I only opened Wolverine and I sold everything else. Like I just was like, I don't need this. I don't need this Storm. I don't need another Jubilee. And I didn't buy everything. Like I didn't, why did I get this Mr. Sinister? He looks almost exactly the same. He comes in a cool box, but like at the end of the day, I was like, he doesn't need 2 spots on a shelf.
Right.
So
Billy Go Boom says, remember when Hasbro did multi-packs that had characters in it that you actually wanted? Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they do just fine. There's plenty of stuff that's just fine. I got that, which is probably not maybe a great example for everyone, but I've got like the Drax Moon Dragon comic book 2-pack coming. I'm super excited for that one. I love all that kind of shit. So that kind of stuff, they're giving us maybe like, oh, that's a pretty big character, but in an older look that I'm surprised we are getting. And then Moon Dragon's certainly not a normal, like average person's going to know who that is. So there's still plenty of stuff that they could do and that they've hinted that they're going to do. I mean, at San Diego, they confirmed essentially that they're going to finish the New Warriors, which is my favorite team outside of X-Men is New Warriors. So like they still have the potential to do a lot of crazy stuff. There's always going to be a reliance on Spider-Man. There's always going to be a Wolverine, And as much as I love Wolverine, I don't know that I'm going to buy every Wolverine. Up until now, I have bought every Wolverine, but I don't know that I'm going to do it until the end of time. Things like that. Like there's all sorts of stuff that I would love to see that I just don't know that we're ever actually going to get.
What are you waiting on from them? What's missing in your collection that you want? Right, like make this now.
I mean, there's a lot of like small things that maybe kind of like one-off characters here and there. Like I would, and it's not necessarily stuff that would maybe make anything complete, but would just make me excited to have something, which maybe doesn't take a whole lot. But like I need a comic Adam Warlock. I need a classic comic Adam Warlock, and I don't have one. This is like the pipe dream thing that I would love to get. If you ever collected like comic cards, there was a card with the X-Men like having like a pool day. I want that. I want them all in Speedos. I want Colossus in a tiny little Speedo being able to flex with Jubilee in like a little one-piece bathing suit. I want that shit. I want all that. Well, I'll never get it. But that would be like it's the dumbest thing, but I would love to have it. Or like random Spider-Man villain, like Cardiac. I would love to have a Cardiac. And I don't know that we're ever going to get him.
Probably not.
Explore the cosmic side of X-Men, which they've sort of started doing. But I would love to have an entire Starjammers. I want the Shi'ar Imperial Guard. I want anything cosmic, essentially. If they could focus on cosmic Marvel, I would be just so happy. That and X-Men is where my loves intermingle. So I want to see them kind of explore that, but you kind of start getting away from what's safe at that point. You're not going to have a Captain America or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, you could if you get really stupid and you find the instances where he's out there doing that kind of stuff, but they're not going to give us that. So there's a lot of stuff that I would love to get, but might actually be maybe two out there for even Marvel Legends. And I know we get all sorts of crazy shit, but there's always weird stuff in Marvel that I'd love to have that just isn't going to sell.
Well, you have you've gotten the chat a little fired up here. First of all, I think they enjoy listening to your rants. So again, I mean, we're talking live stream content, sir. These people are all for it. Aaron, you want to share some of those?
Yeah. So one of them, Northern Nomad, starting to feel the same way you feel about duplicate figures. And I think what really touches home with that, and to some degree, is, McFarlane. How many Batmans and Supermans has this man done and will continue to do? And, and then he comes out with that, was it the six pack Batman set? More Batman. Don't get me wrong. I love Batman. I do. But there's more. There's more in the world than Batman. Okay. Just saying.
Yeah. I don't even touch his line. I can't.
Is it by
There's
personal
a number
choice?
Of reasons,
okay. Give me one good one. Like what's the
number? Is that I'm not a huge DC guy, but
okay.
That's the main reason. But I won't lie. I was really interested when it was announced that DC was just starting over, because it would have been a chance to get in on the ground floor of a line. And then I got some of them in there. I just don't like them. That's really what it is. I just don't like them. And the character selection is definitely not tailored to me.
I still have like one of my original spawns from like probably 10 years ago.
I do have stuff that I do like from him. I have a DC figure still. I have the first Azrael figure that he made, the red one. Love it. Great figure. I think it was on one of my top 10 lists that year. It was an awesome figure. But the rest are I just don't care for them. I don't like the way they look. I don't like the way they move in some ways. And, again, it's the character selection a lot of times. Like I don't know a lot of this like more current DC stuff, like the Dark Knight's metal stuff, like all that shit where everybody was, a truck and all that nonsense. Like, no, I don't need Batman as a truck. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. And
well, think about the setup between him and now Optimus Prime. They can go to war.
just ridiculous. I mean, the whole concept of it was just so dumb. But I don't know. I mean, I want to see, like, I would love to get more stuff from him. Like, there's some of the Spawn stuff he has. I have some of it. I was really hoping his World of Warcraft figures were going to be something amazing, and that's kind of gone out the window.
Right. A couple more things here. Thanos, have they ever made a Morrow in Legends?
I don't think so, right?
I don't think so either. Doesn't
Hasbro
sound
definitely
familiar.
hasn't. I would like a Marrow, yeah. That's a slightly obscure X-Men character.
Mm-hmm. Greg says, would you like something
Yes.
in a? See, I don't even have to finish the sentence. The answer is yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
You got me with Magus for sure. Yes, absolutely. Any of that kind of stuff. Yes.
Largo from Largo's Lair. He says, I do like the 80s and 70s and 80s comic accurate figures from Marvel Legends. It's kind of I can't even say that word. Repetitive at this point.
See, I would give you crap about reading these, but when I have to read them, I struggle just as much, and I don't know why.
Yeah, go to hell, asshole.
I know how to read. When you're reading comments on something, they're just like, I see words.
Thanos, once again, I would love the 6 team from Mutant X.
There's tons of stuff. I mean, they as much as they've done, there's so much more. Like they've got you can't really say the possibilities are limitless, but they really kind of are. There's so much stuff out there that they haven't touched for probably good reasons in many cases. Not everything's going to sell.
Mm-hmm. And then Shane Shooter one more time. Do you think of Crystar? Is there a Marvel team that Hasbro hasn't really touched that you would love to see? For me, is the Exiles.
I think the Crystar is awesome. Completely took me by surprise when they showed that at San Diego. Never crossed my mind that it would have been a possibility, despite that being a Marvel thing. I just never thought that'd be something they'd put in because it's not really. It's Marvel, but it's not really Marvel. Mm-hmm. So that looks awesome. And I also like translucent stuff. So that's a double whammy right there. As far as a team, though, I mean, nailed it. Exiles would be right up at the top of the list for me. That's all crazy X-Men stuff pulled from all over. I'm very much into that. So
you said previously that, Hasbro, it would not be in their wheelhouse to do something that wasn't in the comfort zone. You're always going to have a Wolverine. You're always going to have a Magneto, a Cyclops, a Storm of some sort. But at the same time, they're showing hints of what if we did this? What is the response? Do you think that they would? Do you think it's good for them to tease something just to see what the response is and then gauge it off of that and then put something in production? Or you just think they're just kind of trolling people in general?
I don't know. I mean, I think teasing something and then teasing something with the only thought behind it being to gauge interest is a bad idea, because you're going to have a huge subset of that group that expects that, it's been teased, it's going to happen. And Hasbro doesn't really do that all that often. Like you use Bandai as an example. Like they used to put a bunch of figure arts in their displays that never would ever see the light of day. You'd never see them. There's tons of Star Wars figure arts and Dragon Ball Z figure arts that have been shown at cons over the years, and they've never been made. And they've never made any indication they were going to make them either. But they have this fully finished prototype to show off. Hasbro, I mean, they don't really do something to that degree, but I think it's a bad idea, because I don't know if that's the best way to really gauge interest either. I mean, you're going to have so many people that aren't going to say a word about it. Mm-hmm. How do you know what they feel? I mean, and when it comes to not liking something, if they teased a character that I thought was just an awful idea, chances are I'm not going to say anything about it.
Right. And
I don't project that into the world. I don't need to say the stuff that I don't like. Mm-hmm. If I'm not talking about it, you pretty much have your answer.
So, and that becomes a whole separate part of the conversation. You have yourself. We talked about Shardamus and a lot of big reviewers. I think you guys pull a very heavy persuasion, whether for yay or nay on certain figures. Do you ever think about when you're reviewing something, do you think about that? Am I crushing someone's dream of wanting this figure because I don't like it? Or is this I really don't care the way it goes. If you're going to buy it. It's your money. You make your own decision, but I'm just giving you mine.
That's pretty much what it is. I tend to assume that there's not much I'm going to say that's going to crush somebody's hopes and dreams if I just happen to not like a figure, because there's been plenty of instances where people that I'm I respect their opinions on toys in general, and they tell me they don't like something. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I like it. I don't care. And I kind of assume that, that's probably what most folks are kind of feeling as well, as like, okay, he liked it. He didn't like this. That's fine. I was still probably going to buy it or not buy it anyway. I don't know. I don't know that I really think about it in that too often. Like maybe I should, but I don't think about the fact that, someone's literally watching with the intention of buying or not buying based on what I say alone. So
yeah, no.
I would hope not. I don't know.
This just came in. I wanted to, it moved on me. This came in. Toy Collector Magazine will be at PowerCon booth 134. So make sure you guys go check them out. And also, thanks for coming in and hanging out.
Pick up issue number 5 featuring me.
Yeah, go get issue number 5. Now, these you can buy that at like Barnes and Noble now, right?
Yeah,
it's not just an online purchase.
I
like
think
you
it started with
go
issue
to a
5.
store.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You can get them at Big Bad Toy Store, and you've always been able to get them at Big Bad, and then they do the subscription directly, and then Barnes and Noble sells them. Yeah.
Well, Toy Collector Magazine, holler at your boys, okay? Maybe we can.
It's such a good magazine. If you even want to have any interest in reading a toy magazine, it's so good.
Yeah, I definitely want to check one out because I haven't yet. I've heard a lot of really good stuff, and then I heard that they were in stores, and it's.
I mean, there's a lot. They have a lot of folks on there that are in the toy industry. I mean, they have legitimate reveals in the issues, which was crazy to think. I think it was. I don't know if it was the first issue or the second one. It might have been the first one where they had a reveal from Super 7. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. It was like one of the Super Cyborgs, but it had didn't get leaked. The only way you saw it is if you had that magazine.
Oh, wow. And it's kind of cool because, like I said, I mean, back in the day,
that feels like the old day.
Like when I was growing up, that's how you found out the news. Either you had to get a magazine or like it was in a rare newspaper print. Like you didn't see commercials or anything that said, "Oh no, hey, this up and coming thing." So like I'm glad to see that there's someone still doing something like this to really, one, just keep toy news, in paper form, but also, every once in a while, if you want to know what the hot thing is, you got to check out what they got. So that is awesome.
I wanted to respond to this. So Diamond distributes as well. So ask your local comic shop. And we are in luck because we just landed a deal with Diamond. So maybe we can stock some of that. So did you have an interview in the magazine?
It was a review.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
I wrote a review for a Legion's figure.
Very cool. That is awesome, man. And it's
I was pretty excited about it. Yeah.
Are you framing that?
I mean, I have 2 issues. I have one that's still sealed in the baggie. So
awesome. That's like stuff.
Yeah, my subscription issue is still in the baggie, and then I got one at Barnes and Noble.
That's very cool.
Because I had to go look. Like I had to go see that something I had written was in a store, right? So
yeah. So now you're like an official kind of author or publisher. You're not a publisher. Something. I don't know. You're something.
I wrote
man,
something and they printed it. That's it.
That's really cool.
That's cool.
Journalist. We'll go with that. Yeah. Cool. So we talked about all these legends. We talked about this Cat's Lair. Where do you keep all this stuff? Do you sell things off? Because we know Art G will buy his things and then sell off things he's not in love with anymore to buy new things. Do you have a similar system, or is it all just in storage in a garage in a bin?
Depending on who you ask in the house, it's either everywhere or it's only in a few select places. I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Right.
I don't really sell a lot. I do sell stuff. Like it's unavoidable. I'm gonna eventually sell something sometimes, but I have a hard time letting stuff go.
Same.
I mean, that's the short and long of it. I've got a hard time letting stuff go. Because the minute I'm like, I don't actually care about this thing anymore, but it's like, well, I might in a week though, and it's like, I won't be able to get it again, because I know that if I sell it, if I know that I'm going to sell it, it's worth selling. Like I tend to not just dump stuff because I I don't want this. Here's a legend. So I'll toss it for $8 just to get it out of the house. Like I don't do that. But like, I mean, I got rid of a bunch of Mezcos recently, things like that. Stuff that like I legitimately was able to say, I don't give a shit about this, and I got rid of it. So,
yeah, I had some older Marvel Legends that I had that like I now kind of regret that I got rid of, because like some of those are figures that like now would work wonderfully with my Legends display behind me, but you know those things are going anywhere between $70, $80 a piece for loose figures, and then like almost $100+ in box. I'll pass. I'll just cry a river, you know. One day,
I try not to go backwards on lines either. Like if I don't have it, I'm probably not going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are very few lines. There's not really any lines that I would need to do that with now. But maybe there are a few exceptions here and there. But got to go forward. Not going to go. I don't want to pay like vintage toy prices for modern toys. That's not a thing for as far as how I collect.
So behind you is kind of your standard YouTube backdrop. Do you ever change the display out and like rotate things out? Like, okay, well, this is cool, but now I really want this to be displayed. Like a seasonal change.
Kind of not seasonal. I'm kind of doing it now. Like I reworked some of the shelves on the opposite side of the room, and they have nothing on them right now except some bigger things. The cases are almost all emptied out. So I'm trying to do that, but I'm kind of doing it all at once. So it's kind of a slow process. This will likely never change. Like this was set up specifically for the classics.
And that looks good though. I wouldn't move that anyway, man. That Snake Mountain is just absolutely killer. Very sad.
That's its home. Like these were put here for the Snake Mountain and for Grayskull, so they're gonna stay.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna ask one more question. We'll follow up with the chat, and then we'll kind of wrap this up and get you back out there, so the wife doesn't get mad at you here. So
I'm sure she's doing just fine without me.
Keep them longer.
What are some of your goals for your channel right now?
I mean, right now is the main thing I've been trying to do lately is to kind of get back into a little bit more consistency with videos. Like it's been, I'm not saying it like I'm not consistently putting them out, but like they are kind of random. And most of that's just time management on my part. Finding time to actually film has been a little difficult. So that's about it, really. I've been failing to change up some of the format on the review in terms of how things are edited and put together just for my own sanity. So it's a little bit different for a change. So there may be some, changes like that, but I'm just trying to keep going with it and enjoying it. So I'm still having fun doing it. That's really all I care about at the moment.
That's awesome. What's the feedback like from your community? Do you have to deal with the trolls and stuff, or do you mostly just get love and praise and adoration?
It's the whole spectrum. I mean, there's definitely like a sense of, I know when I put out certain videos, I know I'm not checking the comments on these. Like a lot of them, I just kind of let them ride. When it comes to like anything, you go back to Super 7, pretty much anything Super 7, it's just so much shit that I have to sift through. It's like people are either thinking that I'm not going hard enough on them. People are complaining about this or that or the other. And it's like, okay, it's the same stuff every other time. Right. And then there's always like comments. There's always the comments about getting stuff for free. So that's always a thing. There's a lot of negative comments. Like they're always going to be there. But there's a lot of positive comments too. So it's, they outweigh each other. It's just, I get a lot of comments, so it's really hard to actually sift through them. I don't think it's feasible to really get to most of it on any given day, honestly. Even at my subscriber count, like it's so many. Like, I had to turn off notifications for comments years ago. You just can't keep up.
Man,
one day I'd like to get to that problem.
Yeah, we're still at a point where we get our 2 or 3 comments and we can respond to that. But yeah, I can't imagine the day when it becomes a chore. Cool. Well, what else is in the chat, Aaron? If you guys got questions for Toy Bro, this is last call. Get them in right this second, right now.
A couple things, not a lot. Greg's asking or saying Emperor Vulcan time period for X-Men team out there, adding the Chitauri with the Phoenix Blade and the darker Imperial Guard that went after Rachel Raza would. I can't talk to them.
Yo,
when he was possessed by symbiotes.
That's an incredibly hard comment to read.
Yeah, like,
that's a lot.
Yeah, I would be absolutely down for everything he just said. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's more of the stuff I want. Yeah.
And then he follows that up with, have you ever considered trying to make a Mistress Death using Mythic Legions?
That has never crossed my mind, but I suppose that would be very simple. If you just got a hooded robe and put it over top of a skeleton, all you need is a head sticking out.
There you go. See, the chat provides ideas for you, you know. And then this isn't for you, but I'm going to answer this question anyway. You guys have any Battletoads? As a store, I've contemplated it. We didn't get a big response from like our interested people, but I mean, it's always something that we consider. I'm always looking for new things to add to the shop. I don't know if we're going to make the deadline to get Battletoads in time, but
they're going to be at PowerCon.
They will.
They're going to have exclusives to army builders.
Shit, I gotta get Battletoads.
We'll talk about that later because it's still. I mean, that's still shaky ground in some people's minds. So
yeah, that's one of the other ones that I know if I post a review for them, can't read them.
Yeah.
I can't post anything anywhere without it immediately becoming exactly what you think it becomes.
Shane asked this question earlier.
Talking about it.
He asked it again. I don't know if Jared, you know, they did show some information earlier about the Turtle Van, the Turtle Packs, and then also the Turtle Lair diorama. Have you heard any news on release dates or anything like that?
I thought they said the Lair was going up in August to the NECA store. The accessory pack is being reissued. They've sort of hinted about the van possibly going back up if the demand is there. Mm-hmm. They may not know that demand until after it comes out, you know, what the aftermarket looks like and everything like that. But I think there's a good chance the van might come out again because, you know, they made a huge design change to it after it went up for pre-order. It had that weird hump on the top of the van, and they took it off. And that's apparently what a lot of people stopped buying it because it looked like that. Mm-hmm. And so when they changed it, they're like, well, if I'd known you were going to change it, I would have bought it. So I could see it coming back out just by virtue of maybe giving those people another shot at it, maybe.
Okay. Also, Greg is he's tossing out the tongue twisters on purpose. Thank you, Greg. We appreciate it. And then Largo, Ted DarkClaw is my toy enabler and coolest drawer.
Jib, you got it's not a good idea. Not a good idea, Fred. I have terrible taste in I think I stopped being cool in 2001.
I mean, you heard this man's infinite playlist, didn't you? You had to bring on a second guest just to liven the show up.
Wow, I forgot you were there. That one hurts. I need a redo. Wow. You're not invited to the next one.
That's all right. I'll crash that one too. So this is another one we're not sure yet. Like I said, we'll have to talk in one of our planning meetings and come up with a decision. But I will write this down and kind of see what the buzz is. I'll put it to you that way, there, Lewis.
Yeah, we like hearing what people are interested in, especially if there's enough people shouting something at us, because we like to try to cover the bases. But then, you know, there's just capital and space, and we don't want to buy something that people aren't interested in. Like one person buying something is great, but if that's it, then it makes it hard for us.
Yeah. And like we spoke about earlier, I mean, that is probably 90% of the reason why we haven't danced around with Super 7 yet. I mean, the first Super 7 item that we're going to carry is the Notorious B.I.G. And we did that because we are obviously Notorious B.I.G. fans.
Yeah.
Really wish I got that ODB. Crying, I might have to buy that from somewhere else. But like I said, if there's stuff out there that you're looking for, let us know. We're on all the social, Instagram, Twitter, even though we don't use it that often. TikTok, Facebook. You can
Message us.
Email.
Messaging us on Instagram or sending us an email is the best way to get a hold of us. And then there's the chat on the store as well, but that's more for customer service issues. So if you want to have a conversation, Instagram is probably a better spot for that.
And then Largo says, "Hello, dope, infinite playlists Redux." Yes, he's down for it.
Yeah. Shoot us a date, and then we'll be on that. So, Jared, is there anything you would like to promote?
My channel. That's about it, man. That's it. Go watch a review.
And it is scrolling down in the banner, and it's in the description and down below. So,
and then I know Ed was out there posting some links in the chat as well. On the off chance that you've never heard of Toy Bro, which, like I said, if you're into toys, I imagine you have seen his video at least once. He's out there. Go watch him, and then go follow him on Twitter too, where he gets all spicy.
That's where the real content's at.
Yeah. Twitter's where the good stuff.
You come for the reviews and you stay for the tweets. So
yeah, you post some pictures like, love the Skeletor, hate the shitty ass cape.
God, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's just the worst cape. It's such a good Skeletor. It's just the shittiest cape.
No, I liked that one. There was one like last week as well where I don't know, you said something and then people were giving you a bunch of crap about it. And you're like, I wasn't expecting like that kind of response, but yeah.
No, I posted something about it was some figure that went up on Big Bad Toy Store, Cyber Frog or whatever it was, I think is what it was. Yeah, and it set off a shit storm because I didn't know what it was, and apparently it's some asshole, racist, misogynist comic artist or something. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I'll just do it and delete that one. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Stirred up a whole bunch of shit on that one. Like the guy that wrote the comic even ended up in the conversation. I had to mute it and everything.
So what you're saying is, in order to grow our Twitter page, I need to start talking shit about somebody.
I didn't even talk shit. I just posted that the thing was for sale. I'm like,
no, I'm talking about me talking shit. I don't care.
Well, now I'm sad I can't go back and read all that because I scrolled through it and yeah, I was just like, look at Toy Bro out here, man, just getting into Twitter fights. All right, well, definitely check out Toy Bro's channel. Check him out on Twitter. Follow him on Instagram, even though he says he's not there that often. But
I'm there. I just don't know how to use the damn thing. It just says I just don't know I don't know how to get more followers. Like I feel like I get like one a week. I don't know. I don't think I use it enough. I think is what it is. I don't think I do it enough.
I find it funny that your problem with Instagram is my problem with Twitter. Yeah, like that's just
we can share tips.
Yeah, we'll have another meeting. We'll discuss strategies.
Yeah.
Aaron, what do you have to promote?
PowerCon. The road or the quest for PowerCon ends next week. We'll go solo. 12 days and counting. So Toy Bro will be there. We will be there. A couple of you in the chat will be there. So come find us, chit chat, buy some hella dope things. Also, I want to try something for next week because it is just Ted and I. So send some questions, burning questions that you guys want to know. We'll have a Q&A. We'll pop them up in the chat. We'll answer some questions. Hey, how was your wedding? Maybe I'll tell you. Maybe I remember. I don't know. So yeah, next Sunday we'll do that. And then, pretty simple day today.
Cool. So, basic stuff. Follow us on Instagram. That really helps. And that's the best way to communicate with us. If you haven't left a like, do that too. Not for the algorithm, but just for my personal self-esteem. Also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, do that. We are really trying to hit 500. And man, we shot up in the past few weeks, and we are very appreciative to everybody that has subscribed. Leave a comment after the show. If you enjoyed this, go to helladopetoys.com. I always feel like I'm forgetting one thing.
Apparently, I'm having a fight versus the interwebs.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to you fighting people on Twitter.
Oh man,
I'm gonna enjoy that. And yeah, I guess that is it, friends. So we appreciate all of you for being here. Oh, do we have one more?
We do. No, it doesn't have to be about toys. Just questions. If you have a burning medical question,
we are not doctors. We at best we are doctors of thugonomics, and that's as close as we get.
Put some cream on it and pray.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
that's good medical advice. All right, that is all we have, guys. Join us next week. Aaron and I will be alone as we wrap up the quest for PowerCon. We will see you all soon. Goodbye.